Welcome to News Today. The headline news. President Ahmed Bola Tinubu held talks with Ahmed Macron, sought for collaboration. The news in full. On Sunday, Eemmanuel Macron and President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the Nigeria president, held talks on the security citing on security crisis facing the country, Nigeria. The president talks to his French counterpart, particularly on the areas of collaboration to mitigate insecurity effectively. A United States delegation comprising the U.S. Embassy, ambassador to Nigeria, and other top officials parley with the National Security Advisor, Nuhu Ribadu, in Abuja on the reported Christian persecution and killings in the country. Held television conversation, issues bordering country security. Macron promised President Bola Tinubu and affirmed that France will strengthen its partnership with Nigeria authority in the areas of security. He said, quote, I spoke with President Tinubu of Nigeria, that's in his official handle of X. I convey France's solidarity in the face of the various security challenges, particularly the terrorist threat in the north. Quote again, at his Tinubu's request, we will strengthen our partnership with the authorities and our support for the affected population. Quote again, we call on all our partners to step up their engagement. No one can remain a spectator, end of quote, the French president added. Macron further affirmed that in fulfillment of Tinubu's request, his government will cooperate with the federal government to provide support for the official population in the north, especially. Prominent areas where Macron's talk was a wave of gun attacks and kidnapping, particularly in the schools and communities across the northern region that have drawn international attention or condemnation. He said the international bodies strongly condemn the ugly developments. The president had on November 26th declared a nationwide security emergency, ordering the army, police, and intelligence services to immediately expand recruitment and deploy thousands of additional personnel to every nook and cranny of the area affected, and ask security agencies to prioritize the safety of schools, farms, and places of worship, while governors step up local early warning system to boost the overall security architecture. The president has vehemently rejected claims of Christian persecution, insisted that insecurity in Nigeria cut across all religions and tribes, with no regard for religion or tribe or life in entirety. On the area of discussion with U.S. congregational delegations, Ribadu said, quote, this morning I received a U.S. congressional delegation on a fact-finding mission to Nigeria, following our earlier engagement in Washington, D.C. on shared security priorities, he added. He added that the U.S. Embassy to Nigeria, Richard Mills, was also present. A development, he said, quote, reflected the importance both nations attached to this engagement, end of quote. Ribadu narrated further to say that the discussion focused on, quote, counter-terrorism cooperation, regional stability, end of quote, and ways, quote, to strengthen the strategic security partnership between Nigeria and the United States, end of quote. Quote again, I am optimistic this engagement will deepen trust, collaboration, and shared commitment to peace and security, he added. Really more, a member of the U.S. House of Representatives, that Sunday he had concluded a very productive visit to Nigeria. Quote, I came to Nigeria in the name of the Lord and on behalf of the American people. Mo, end of quote, Mo added. Mo said. He concluded to announce the end of his trip. Quote, just ending a very productive visit to Nigeria and rounds of meetings. More details to come. Happy Sunday. God is great. End of quote. Richard Mills, the U.S. Assistant Secretary of State and U.S. Ambassador to Nigeria, visited Benue State on Saturday to show particular concern to Nigerian security, where the team met Governor Nassim Alia at the government house, Makurdi, as well as Catholic bishops of Makurdi and Katsina Allah Diocese, Most Reverend Wilfred Anagbe and Bishop Isaac Dugu, respectively, on serious insecurity in the state. The delegation also visited the paramount ruler of Tiv Nation and chairman of the Benue State Traditional Council, the Tiv, His Royal Majesty Prof. James Ayase. Although the main reason of the visit to the state was sketchy, may not be unconnected with reports of U.S. allegation of religious persecution in Nigeria as a country, especially in Benue. Anagbe has twice addressed the U.S. Congress in 2025 on the persecution of Christians and security crisis in Nigeria, calling on the U.S. to take concrete action. The third thief has similarly admonished President Bola Tinubu during his visit to the state shortly after the Yewata attack, on which about 200 people were killed. He described the crisis as, quote, nothing but genocide, end of quote. But Governor Alia, at a recent consultative forum on proceeding or protecting the rights of internally displaced people and forcibly displaced persons organized by the National Human Rights Commission in Abuja, denied claims of genocide. Allah said, quote, I'm a reverend father. So being in governor does not take that away from me. In my state of Benue, we do not have any religious, ethnic, racial, national, or state genocide. We do not have that. End of quote. Kula Tasso, the chief press secretary to the governor, stated that he was informed the visit was private and confidential. Kula said, quote, they told me it was a private visit. That is why the media was not invited to cover it. That is all I can say on that. Thanks. End of quote. However, leader of the three major sociocultural groups in the state, Lobby Iga, Nzo, Tiv, TV, Ocheteba, Kedima, and Ngede, said the visit by the American officials may not be unconnected with the allegation of religious genocide. He said that although the state government denied claims of genocide, he should have used the opportunity to take the team to Yerwata and other IDP camps along the highway to verify. The retired controller of prison further stated that, quote, Everyone in Benue State believes that the ongoing attacks and killings in the state amount to genocide. The Tortif, a T paramount ruler, said during President Bola Tinubu visits to the state following the Yelwata attack, where scores injured and many killed. Quote, the Catholic Bishop of Makurdi Diocese has visited the U.S. Congress and presented papers on how Christians are being killed in the state and in Nigeria as a whole. Quote again, so it is the state government that is playing politics with killings. This was an ample opportunity to take the U.S. team to Yelwata, which is along the Lafia Road, and to the IDP camp in Makurdi, or those along the highways, for them to see things for themselves. End of quote. The federal government has reportedly secured the release of 100 school children abducted from St. Mary Private Catholic Primary and Secondary School, Papiri, in the Agwara local government area, Niger State, an effort viewed as positive. Although the authorities have not confirmed the release of the pupils as of the time of filing this report. The NSA visited the school 1 week later and reassured the parents and proprietors that the pupils will be rescued unhurt. The NSA said he was conveying the President Tinubu's message of hope, assure the parents and concerned Nigerians that efforts to rescue the children were progressing and security deployment in the affected area had been intensified and timely assistance has been given by the President. Quote, God is with them and God is with us. Evil will never win. They are going to come back. I give you that assurance. End of quote. Ibadu said during a visit to the Catholic Bishop of Kotangora Diocese and proprietors of the school. That's Paulos, Dagura, Dawa, Yaoma, as well as parents of the adopted children. It may interest you to know that bandits on 21 November 2025 attacked the school in the remote community of Papiri. The government stormed the school dormitories, adopting 315 people to 303 students and 12 teachers, and unknown destination. Few weeks later, 50 pupils later escaped and were reunited with their families. However, about 265 individuals, including 253 children and all 12 teachers, remain in captivity, yet to be freed. A rescue mission was launched, and the federal government deployed area surveillance across parts of Kwara, Kebbi, and Niger State, respectively. In Niger State, the authorities shut down the schools and many unity schools across several northern states. Benga Hashim, former president aspirant and international businessman, has said northern politics, political and social elites must accept responsibility for the worsening insecurity across the region. He insisted that decades of failed governance have fueled extremist recruitment and mass violence. Benga welcomed the appointment of General Musa as Nigeria's new Minister of Defense, including the appointment, quote, as a crucial opportunity that must deliver practical and immediate results, end of quote. Hashim, the People Democratic Party chairperson, said that he watched Musa's Senate screening and was impressed by what he called the nominee's sincerity and clarity of purpose of choice. Quote, I watched General Musa's Senate clearance. He sounded like somebody genuinely committed to Nigeria, Hashim said. I hope he receives full executive backing needed to succeed in his crucial assignment, end of quote. Hashim warned that Nigerians and international security observers were becoming increasingly impatient with political rhetoric, and added that the country had entered a phase where only measurable action will be tolerated to avert calamity. Quote, this is not the season for symbolism. This is the season for action, he said. End of quote. Quote again, Nigerians want immediate steps. This appointment must not become another publicity stunt. We want policies, programs, and results. End of quote. He urged both executives and national assemblies to accelerate legislation enabling the creation of state and local government policies, structures, urging that Nigeria cannot curb insecurity without building a strong local security culture. Hashim also said, the rise of banditry, kidnapping, and extremist attacks across northern Nigeria was a direct result of cumulative leadership failure at the sub-regional level, and that leaders needed to have a change of heart for good of the followers. Quote, that extremists are finding recruits in their thousands is not accidental, he added. Quote, it is the product of deep poverty caused by decades of governance failure at the state and local government level, while the Sahel crisis has played a role. Poor local governance has compounded the problem, end of quote. Hashim contrasted today's insecurity reading north with more stable First Republic era, which he said was marked by discipline and integrity-driven leadership. Today is a direct opposite of what Nigeria and Nigerians are known for. He cited leaders such as Sir Ahmed Bola, Aminu Kano, Joseph Taka, and Sir Kashim Ibrahim as examples of public figures who lived modestly and earned the trust of ordinary people, which some of them didn't have houses of their own. Quote, in those days, the North was safer, more united, and governed with honesty and discipline. Quote again, today, too many Northerners leaders live like oil sheriffs in the midst of mass poverty, he said, which is not good. He urged a new generation of leaders across the country to be committed to transparency, accountability, and people-focused development all the time. Quote, it is time for the North to replace leaders who live like oil sheriffs amidst poverty and hold onto power through ethnic and religious manipulation, he declared. In the same vein, a university don and director of Center for Democratic Development Research and Training, Zaria, Kaduna State, Prof. Abubakar Siddiq, has raised alarm that the rising insecurity in northern Nigeria poses a grave threat to the stability of the entire country. The professor said a professor of political science at Ahmed Bola University Zaria, said, "The North has become epitome or episode of multidimensional poverty, economic stagnation, and worsening security crisis. One that, unless decision action is taken, the situation will undermine national cohesion and brotherliness." He spoke as a guest speaker at the General Hassan Usman Kashima Second Memorial Conference organized by the New Vision Development Initiative, led by a former military administrator of Niger State, Colonel Lawal Gwadabe, retired in Kaduna. The professor said statistics show that 65% of Nigeria classified as multidimensional poor reside in the north, making the region the most deprived in the country, and as such resulted to violence. He added that what is worsening poverty indices are fueling insecurity and creating unrest in what he described as, quote, poverty insecurity trap, end of quote. Quote again, "The implications for northern Nigeria are profound," he warned. The region, quote again, "The region's economic stagnation and human capital crisis are undermining national growth and development. As Nigeria's population continues to grow, the need for effective solution to these challenges becomes increasingly urgent," end of quote. The professor paints a bleak picture of the northern Nigeria, that an estimated 10 million Nigerian children that are out of school, 60% are in northern states, and that youth unemployment has exceeded 50% in some years parts of the north. Able-bodied young men supposed to be productive have channeled the energy to crime. He said that apart from economic deprivation, the climate stress was aggravating insecurity. He pointed out that the loss of 350 million hectares of land to desertification annually is another pointer to aiding restiveness. He further said, quote, "The security situation is equally alarming. Since 2009, the Boko Haram insurgency has claimed over 35,000 lives, and displaced 2.5 million people. Banditry and kidnapping have also become rampant, with thousands of villages raided and thousands abducted. These crises are interconnected, fueling a poverty insecurity trap that threatens national stability," end of quote. Siddiq advocated for urgent and holistic intervention, which includes governance, perform security sector reengineering, massive educational transformation, and economic diversification that is tailored to the needs of modern communities to help reduce restiveness. Siddiq said, if these structural problems are addressed, the unity of the nation is certain, the institutions strengthened, and national security is upheld once again. Eemmanuel, reporting from my channel.